Tonight, slipping through the cracks. What our KGW investigation discovered about Portland rideshare drivers with criminal histories who made it through background checks anyway.
An attack on a Saudi oil field threatens to pump up the price of gas. We'll verify how much it can really affect what you pay.
This is a very high quality product, like the Mercedes-Benz of delivery bikes.
And coming to a bike lane near you, a tricycle unlike any other will hit the roads in Portland, and it's definitely not the one you rode as a kid.
I guess it was meant to be that he came here.
Found 2 years and 100 miles from home. It's one missing cat's incredible tale that serves as a message to all pet owners to never give up hope.
We're beginning tonight's newscast with a little different look from the back of an Uber. For the past few weeks, we've been looking into driver background checks. Nationwide, both Uber and Lyft are facing increased scrutiny over safety concerns. It's an important issue because millions of people use these rideshare companies to get around town.
I use Uber and Lyft quite a bit, and I trust the person behind the wheel is safe and qualified to drive. But recently, there have been some pretty ugly stories involving Uber and Lyft drivers.
Tonight, San Antonio police have charged an Uber driver.
A Lyft driver accused of sexually assaulting a woman in Maricopa.
Some riders want the rideshare company to take more extensive security measures.
Which got me wondering, are Uber and Lyft doing enough to check the background of their drivers? Are these ride-sharing companies doing enough to keep riders safe?
Thanks.
We do not think they are doing enough. They've known about ongoing attacks by drivers for several years now, and it is happening in increasing numbers.
How often do you have people coming forward with stories similar to what we've heard elsewhere?
We get people contacting us almost every day. I would say we get about 5 to 10 cases per week involving both Uber and Lyft. Just about every one of our clients has said their biggest concern is making sure that this doesn't happen to someone else.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
According to their websites, both Uber and Lyft require would-be drivers go through background checks designed to weed out felons, along with people with lousy driving records. But their background screenings are not foolproof. After looking through 5 years of Portland Bureau of Transportation inspection records, I found in Portland, 78 Uber drivers and 90 Lyft drivers slipped through the cracks. They should have been disqualified because of criminal or driving history, but weren't. That included 2 Lyft drivers with felony records. One was convicted of sex abuse in the 2nd degree, and the other served prison time for assault with intent to murder. Lyft admits both of these convicted felons were able to drive passengers for months until the city of Portland did its own background check and revoked their rideshare driver's permit.
We are catching those people who shouldn't be driving.
So why do you think you're able to catch them, but Uber and Lyft aren't?
I think there are a couple of reasons, human error, potentially the process.
In addition to rigorous background screening, the city of Portland does thousands of random spot checks of Uber and Lyft drivers to make sure nothing was missed. So what are the companies doing to make sure their drivers are in compliance?
How do you screen the drivers?
With 2 different background checks.
In 2018, both Lyft and Uber announced expansion of their criminal background screening process. Both companies now do continuous criminal monitoring.
Or making sure all drivers are checked.
Hey, Kyle.
Mila, how's it going?
Good, how are you? How's your story?
Good. I wanted to give you an update. So we reached out to both Uber and Lyft. Neither one wanted to do an on-camera interview, but they did provide some background information.
Sure, what'd they say?
So Lyft says that it actually does 2 background checks. They use third parties. One's called Checker that does a nationwide search using like state and local court records. And then the other one is called First Advantage, and they actually do continuous checks. So if something pops up, they're flagged right away.
Gotcha, and what did Uber say?
So Uber also uses Checker for a nationwide search as well. I guess the question is, could they be doing better? Hey, thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Cal.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Keep in mind, background screenings are not perfect. A basic search may fail to pick up someone's criminal activity or driving history, because names get misspelled or local court records don't show up in an online database.
A lot of people think, they watch CSI or watch those types of shows, and they, just kind of have one database and they put in somebody's name or social security number and it tells you everything about them. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way.
Would you rely on just one search, or would you go to multiple databases?
Any good background check is, we call it a belt and suspenders approach, where you have multiple searches that back up the last search.
Background check experts say you've got to examine every place a person has lived, where they've worked and studied. It's an investment.
If you're not willing to put in the time, the effort, and probably in Uber and Lyft's case, the money, you're not going to be able to find all of the records that may exist for somebody.
Sounds like you kind of get what you pay for.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
As Uber and Lyft continue to grow, there becomes greater pressure to find drivers and get them on the road. But at the end of the day, there's only going to be demand if the service is safe. It's certainly important to note there are thousands of Uber and Lyft drivers on the road in Portland, and generally speaking, the vast majority are safe, but this raises questions about those background checks.
It sure does. And you talked about criminal background checks. Do those also pick up driving infractions?
Right, if they're serious, you certainly hope so, but it's one of the challenges, staying on top of a person's driving record. In fact, just last week, Lyft announced it'll soon be doing continual checks of DMV records to make sure drivers are in compliance.
As we talk about safety, and you're really focused on the passenger safety here, but I just keep thinking about the drivers too, because we've done some horrible stories of passengers attacking those drivers. What about them?
Right, and we've seen those videos. It's a whole other issue. We're really hoping to continue reporting on this issue because so many of us take Uber and Lyft around town. And I'm hoping you share your experiences as well. We've got a conversation going on our Facebook page and my Facebook page, KGW. Love to hear from people, their experiences as we continue to report on this because, like I said, a lot of us take these rideshare companies.
We look forward to the follow-ups. Thank you, Kyle. And if you have a story for us to investigate, email investigators@kgw.com, or here's their tip line. You can call 503-226-5041.
And as we were just talking about with Kyle, these rideshare drivers sometimes are being attacked as well. A Portland Lyft driver, in fact, said that she was recently attacked because she's transgender. And this is the second attack on a transgender person that the Portland police have been investigating in just the last week. The most recent one happened early Thursday morning near West Burnside in Portland. A transgender woman says she was targeted with homophobic slurs that then escalated into a physical attack. Now, this comes about a week after a Portland Lyft driver says a customer attacked her because she's transgender. Now they are both speaking out to raise awareness about what they say they face regularly.
We need to be more open to loving people and understanding that we are different, and you might not understand who we are, but you should respect us. I think that it's really important that we understand that this isn't something that just happened to us. It's happening on a regular basis.
I feel like the whole LGBTQ community needs to sort of put our arms around the most vulnerable, especially transgender women who are being under attack, and especially African American or Black transgender women who are the most likely to be killed.
Now, so far this year, 18 transgender women have been killed in the U.S. In 2018, 26 transgender people died in violent attacks. This year, Oregon did pass a new hate crime law, and it includes funding to create a hotline for victims to call. Advocates hope it will help these victims feel more comfortable when coming forward about these attacks.
In Clark County, a woman is facing murder charges after a man was found dead inside a home in Camas. They say the suspect is 47-year-old Stephanie Westby. Deputies say it started when they responded to a call involving a gun at a home near Southeast 42nd Circle and Payne. When they arrived, they say they found a man dead inside, along with Westby. They detained and later charged her with murder. We have new details about what led up to a shooting at a Hillsborough hotel. Elliot Carr and Peacelyn Perilou made their first court appearances today. According to court documents, the two checked into the Extended Stay America Saturday night with fake IDs, and they were driving a stolen car. The person at the front desk tipped off police. Officers arrived and tried to convince the two to come out of their room. Eventually, Carr did, but he was carrying a semi-automatic handgun. One officer shot at Carr, and he had minor injuries. Both faced multiple charges and have pleaded not guilty.
The community is stepping up now to help the family of a Vancouver man who died in a motorcycle crash on Saturday. Police are saying that 29-year-old Trygve Blixt was riding near SR 500 and 65th when he crashed into an oncoming vehicle and was killed. Blex leaves behind his 2-year-old son and his pregnant wife, Maria, who's due in about a month. His family says life will never be the same without him.
He was so kind and nice and wonderful. He could not be a better person. I just miss him so much already. I just can't believe this happened.
A GoFundMe campaign has raised more than $17,000 to help with funeral expenses.
Lawmakers in Salem learned today how some parts of Oregon's farm industry are being hit by the trade war with China. The cherry industry lost $86 million in sales, and potato farmers lost $20 million in sales. And ranchers who hoped to sell beef to China found the door slammed shut.
It was really, really hopeful, and then when we heard recently that that deal with China had fell through, we were really disappointed because their middle class is really increasing and they really want American beef.
One surprising takeaway, Oregon hazelnuts are selling like crazy in China despite a 65% tariff on them. Coming up, a tricycle, unlike any other. For starters, it can haul 400 pounds. And you may soon see it roaming the streets and bike lanes of Portland.
And say goodbye to chocolate milk. Wait, what? Why the longtime staple of school lunches could be on its way out in a major U.S. city.
I'm Matt Safino. We've got showers that are on the way out and another storm that's on the way in. But look at this great rainbow picture from Dean Coco over downtown Portland for you as this one moved on through. We had a couple of lightning strikes and there are still some showers out there. But again, more heavy rain out on the way tomorrow.